Hello and welcome back to the channel on our continuing voyage to become better blues players. My name's Mark and in this video we're looking at Born Under a Bad Sign. So the actual lesson this time is going to be split across a couple of different videos. This one is just going to focus on the rhythm part. We're going to be looking at the rhythm parts on the Eric Clapton Cream version, the Albert King version, and on the Robben Ford version as well. And we'll talk about the differences between them, similarities, differences, all that kind of thing. So I'll teach you all of the rhythm guitar parts, certainly from the Cream version and the Albert King version, and we'll talk about the Robben Ford version as well. Okay, so to get started, we'll start with the Albert King version. Albert King played this in C sharp minor, and the song basically, all the versions, is basically three riffs. So we'll call it the main riff, the chorus riff, and the verse riff. It's probably the easiest way of doing it, even though the main riff is played over part of the chorus as well. But the main riff goes like this. Okay, so that's the main piece that we all kind of recognize from the song. The chorus bit is the bit that goes like this. That kind of thing. And then there's the verse riff as well, which is similar to the main riff, and that goes like this. Okay, and then there's a few other little incidental riffs that come in here and there that I'll teach you as well. The other versions basically play variations on these, and I'll show you those later in the lesson, but we're going to start with just looking at this Albert King version. So we're in C sharp minor, and I'll start by teaching you the main riff. As I say, it goes like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. So counting in, you would have noticed that the riff actually starts on the and after beat 2. So you count it in like this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. And it's really important that that last note, which is the C sharp, it lands on the 1 of the next bar. Okay, and that timing is really important, and if you get that wrong, it's going to kind of throw you, regardless of which version you play. Okay, so we're in C sharp, we're playing notes from the C sharp minor pentatonic scale, and we're starting fret 2 of the low E string, to 4 of the low E, and then repeat that on the A string, 2 to 4, and then what we've got is 2 on the D string, back to 4 of the A string. Okay, so that's the first time through, and then the second time through, it does this. So we're doing 2 to 4 on the E, 2 on the A, open bottom E string, and then 4 on the A string. Okay, so I'll play the whole riff through a couple of times slowly so you can kind of play along. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Okay, so that's riff 1, the main riff. You play that, and then we come into the chorus. Well, the chorus already starts while that riff's going on. That's the main riff because that's the riff of the intro, and it's the main riff that plays the first half of the chorus, the second half of the chorus. What you then do is you play this. Okay, and then you're into the verse part. So I'll take you through that first of all. So the important thing here is that if we're in C sharp minor here, our 5 chord is a G sharp minor, a G sharp 7. We're basically walking up to that, and we're starting on the first fret of the bottom E string, which is an F note. So you walk it up 1, 2, 3, and up to fret 4. And when you get to fret 4, you're going to play the chord. And there's kind of like a loose strum on that. I don't think it's any particular pattern. And then what you're going to do is you're going to play an open E string, playing an F sharp 7. And then you're going to play this riff. So we're playing 2 to 4 on the bottom E string, and then open to 2 on the bottom E string, and then ending again 4 on the A string, which is our root note, the C sharp. Okay, so that last little section after we've done the 2 chords. Okay, and then he plays the first half of the main riff again. Okay, so that whole piece, nice and slow. Okay, and that's the riff that comes in at the end of the chorus to get into the verse. And then we get the verse riff, and the verse riff goes like this. Okay, and it basically does that, I think it's 4 times. So very similar to the main riff, we start 2 to 4 on the E string, and then we do 2 twice on the A string before hitting 4 on the A string. And it's important that you get the phrasing right and the little pause, cutting off that note in between the 2 notes on the 2nd fret of the A string. You don't run them together, it's not there. It's not that, you got to get that, you got to kill the note and then play it again. Okay, so that's the verse riff. So that main riff, let's talk about the actual structure of the song now. That main riff that's in the intro, when Albert King does it, he plays that obviously over the first half of the chorus as well. But he doesn't play it in the solo or anything. He just plays it as the intro and over the chorus. The verse part, the verse riff, that's played over as obviously the verses, and it's played over the solo as well. When he plays the solo, when he comes back in to go to the G sharp 7, he sings that line. So there's the solo, he stops playing lead licks and he actually sings that line. So the whole solo is just over that verse riff. That's different when we get to the other versions. We'll talk about that a little later. But there is an interesting thing where at one point in the song, he effectively does kind of like the chorus twice, and he plays it like this. Okay, so this time the only difference is that when we're playing those G7 to F sharp 7, sorry, G sharp 7 to F sharp 7 chords, instead of hitting that open E string, he's actually plays the 3rd on the E string. So the actual on the E string alone, it's doing this. So you can see he's not hitting that open at all. He's using that just as a walk in between them. So nice and slow, that bit will go like this. And then you're into the riff that normally comes in at the end of the chorus. Okay, so that's like just a little subtle difference. The other riff that is played is right at the end of the solo before he goes into the G sharp 7 chord. When he's playing the riff, because the riff is going like this. When we get on the record, the version on the Born Under a Bad Sign album, when it goes into the chorus where he sings over the at the end of the guitar solo, he doesn't do the run. He doesn't do that run at all. He just goes straight into the G7, G sharp 7. So to get between the verse riff and the G sharp 7, it's playing this. And it does that kind of thing. Okay, and that's basically, it's just another verse riff, but immediately coming off to walk back down to land on the G sharp. So it's this. And then he's immediately playing the chord. Okay, so that's just like how he gets from the guitar solo. This is all the rhythm guitar part. Move from the guitar solo into the G sharp 7. However, if you look on YouTube, there's a video of him playing with Stevie Ray Vaughn, and it doesn't seem to do that. There's basically soloing going on over that verse riff for quite a long time, and then when he's done soloing, I think he makes a nod or he puts his hand up or something to the band so they know, okay, we're going into it now, and they go into the actual walk. And they do that piece. Okay, that's it. That's all the riffs from from the Albert King version of that song. Let's talk about the Cream version now. So Cream do it in G minor. So we've gone from a C sharp minor here to now a G minor. So that will be here. And so the fingering's slightly different. So the main riff goes like this. Okay, so it sounds very similar, actually fingered quite different. So if you imagine this G minor chord here, well, you just basically, the riff actually you'll see fits quite nicely underneath that chord. So we're starting A string 3 to 5, D string 3 to 5. And then what we're doing is we're playing 3 on the G string before 5 on the D string. Now, sometimes he seems to catch it as just the G string to the 5 of the D, and sometimes he's also catching the B string at the 3rd fret as well, so you get this. So sometimes it's like this, and sometimes it's like this. Okay, and I think that's just kind of a feel thing of how he was feeling it on the day. So that's the first half of the riff. The second half of the riff then goes like this. So we're going 3 to 5 on the A string, 3 on the D string, to 1 on the A string, to 3 on the low E. Okay, so again, it comes in after the 2, so I'll count you in a full bar and then we'll come in after the 2 and I'll do the Cream version nice and slow. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. Okay, so that is the main riff from the Cream version. Like the Albert King version, that comes in on the intro and it comes in on the chorus. Interestingly, in the Cream version, that's actually played underneath the solo as well. So there's a difference there between the Cream version and the Albert King version. Okay, so then we get the main chorus riff, and in the Cream version, that goes like this. Okay, so subtle difference here. We're still doing a walk up. Obviously it's in a different position. We're walking up to that 7th chord. Then what he plays is, after he's strummed that a couple of times, he's hitting 3 on the D string and then walking 5, 4 to 3 on the A string. And then he goes back into the main riff, both parts. Okay, so then we're into the verse riff. The verse riff, very similar to the Albert King, well, it's the same as the Albert King version, except that we're just in a different key. So we're going 3 to 5 on the A, 3 twice on the D, and then 5 on the D string. Okay, and then the other thing to say is that when we get that piece where he plays the what's now a D7 to C7 twice, I think the way Eric Clapton did it, the way it sounds like it on the record, is he does similar to the Albert King version. And then he goes back into the main riff. However, there's a really nice little bass riff that Jack Bruce plays, which you can incorporate, which I think sounds really nice. I'll show you that now. That will go like this. And then you're back into the main riff. Okay, so that, as I say, I'm pretty sure Eric's not playing that, it's just the bass. But it sounds really nice to me, so yeah, that's the way I play it. We're starting again the D7 and then coming down, hitting 4 on the A string before hitting the C7. So the D7 is I'm just hitting the 3 strings, the A string, the D string, and the G string of a D7. So that's frets 5, 4, and 5 respectively. Then we strum that, then we hit 4 on the A string, and then keep that same shape. So now it's 3, 2, and 3 on the A, D, and G string respectively. So if you just want to slide between them, do it the Eric way, that's all you do, and then you basically walk back up, again catching 4 on the A string as you move between them. If you want to play incorporate that bass riff in there, it will go like this. You start the same way, at the D7, catching the A string at the 4th fret down to the C, and then you play this. And all we're doing there is we're playing 3 on the A string to 1 on the A string, back to 3 on the A string before hitting 4 on the A string, and then finally 5 on the A string. Where you're then playing the chord again. So you're playing this. And then you're back into the main riff. Okay, I think that's all the riffs from the Cream version. As I say, interesting thing about this when we look at the guitar solos, not the actual licks, but what's being played over, is the Albert King version is playing over the riff the riff from the verse, and then when it goes to the 5 chord, which in the Albert King version is the G sharp, he sings the line, stops playing solos. In the Cream version, Eric's playing solo over the main riff. And then even over that, with that walk up to the 5 chord, and the 5 chord obviously in the Cream version being the D7. So Eric plays over that, and he does that walk between where the D7 to the C7 is done twice, and he solos over it the whole time. So that's kind of like a interesting artistic choice that he took. We'll talk more about the solo in subsequent videos, but it sounds like Eric just completely improvised the solo. Sounds great. It's a fantastic solo. but it does sound not, but you know, it's a compliment. It sounds like a really great improvised solo. When you look at videos of Cream playing, not that there are many, they're all the reunion stuff, or you listen to recordings of them back in the day, the solo is different every time, so it's another reason why I think the solo is just improvised. Okay, so let's finally now talk about the Robben Ford version. So the Robben Ford version is in a different key again, it's in D. And what's really interesting about this from a rhythm guitar point of view is Robben Ford hardly ever plays the riffs in this song. So, and the very start, when the song very first starts, he plays half of the main riff before he goes into a lead. So he plays like a, and then he goes into the solo, and then he carries on. So I think that's the line he plays, something like that anyway. So he plays like the very first half of the riff, but then goes into the solo, and he basically doesn't play the riff again throughout the song, not the main riff anyway. He comes in with the chorus riff where he plays, just to emphasize that line. Other than that, he's not playing rhythm guitar. He's basically singing a line, playing a lead lick, singing a line, playing a lead lick, and that's how he goes through all the song, except, as I say, on this, it does do that walk-up riff. There's a variation he does that on that in one particular chorus, which sounds really nice, where he does this. Does something like that anyway, where he's playing an inversion of the G. So when we're going from an A7 now, which is the 5 chord, down to a G7, instead of playing the G7, he plays the B on the as the base of the chord, the root. So I'm actually playing that by sliding. So if he's he plays that riff by going starting walking up from 2 to 5 on the E string, and then what he does is he slides on the bottom E string 5 to 7, and then catches 5 on the A string and D string. So I'll do that again for you. As far as the rhythm guitar is concerned, the only riffs he plays is that one on the intro, which is 3 to 5 on the E, 3 to 5 on the A, hitting 3 on the D, and then he's into soloing. Something like that. And other than that, he's just playing that walk up from 2 on the bottom E up to the A chord, which is positioned at 5 on the E string. Okay, and that's all he seems to do. The actual riff and everything the riffs that you can hear in his version, that's carried by the keyboard and bass. Okay, so there are plenty of other versions around as well. If you go looking, Hendrix has done a version. There is a very, very bizarre William Shatner version, which is, if you really want to kind of go deep on this song, worth checking out. There's an interesting Nina Simone version, which is very different, but her vocals on that are just outstanding. I mean, really, really good. So anyway, that's it. That's all of the rhythm parts from the Cream version, the Albert King version, and the Robben Ford version. Hope you enjoyed this. I'll see you next time when we'll start looking at how to solo over this.